Ever feel like you're failing your way to success? Like you take one step forward and life pushes you two steps back? You set a goal. You dream big. You give it everything you've got. But then crash. It all falls apart. And you're left sitting in the silence, wondering what the hell went wrong. It's okay. You're not alone. And more importantly, you're not broken. This video is not about some miracle hack for instant success. It's not about skipping the hard part. This is a story about falling down hard and learning how to rise again. Because the truth is, success is not the absence of failure. Success is built on top of it. Let me tell you something I don't usually talk about. There was a time I had nothing. I just dropped out of college, full of ambition and zero clue. I was chasing a dream, but all I had was anxiety. No money, no plan B, no backup. I poured everything into this one idea, every dollar, every minute, every part of my soul. I kept telling myself, this has to work, but it didn't. I failed, not just financially, emotionally, mentally. I lost friends. I lost confidence. I lost myself. I remember sitting on the floor of my apartment one night, the lights off because I couldn't afford the bill. My phone was buzzing, people asking for updates, but I had nothing to say. I felt like I had died inside, because everything I thought I was, smart, driven, capable, it all seemed like a lie. But in that silence, in that ugly, painful low, I heard something else. A whisper. It said, "Now we begin." That was the turning point, because for the first time I stopped pretending. I stopped faking success. I stopped running from failure. I stopped trying to impress the world and started learning instead. That's when everything changed. Not fast, not flashy, but real. You see, the world sells us a myth. The myth of overnight success, of the lucky break, the viral video, the self-made millionaire who just figured it out. But what they don't show you is the blood behind the spotlight, the years of self-doubt, the silent nights of crying, the jobs lost, the bills missed, the friends who walked away. Success isn't quick, it's brutal, it's slow, it's earned in the ashes of your failures. Look, I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. If you're expecting an easy ride, you're in the wrong video. But if you're still here, it's because deep down, you know there's more inside you. You know failure isn't the end, it's the beginning. Here's what I need you to understand. Everyone fails. The ones who succeed, they just never stop showing up. They used failure, not as a dead end, but as fuel. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company. Oprah was told she wasn't fit for TV. Thomas Edison made over 1,000 failed light bulbs. J.K. Rowling got rejected 12 times before Harry Potter. What if they had given up? What if you do? This story, this video, is for anyone who's been told they're not good enough. For anyone who's tired of watching everyone else win while you keep losing. For the ones who've fallen flat on their face and still got back up. This is your reminder. You're not too late. You're not too far gone. And your failure is not final. So before we jump into the deeper strategies and stories, just know this. Failure is not your enemy. Fear is. Comfort is. Quitting is. If you can learn from your failures, you can rise from anything. Not in spite of your pain, but because of it. Let's begin. They won't remember how many times you failed. Only that you didn't stop. How to achieve success through failure. Ever feel like you're failing your way to success? Like you take one step forward and life pushes you two steps back? You set a goal. You dream big. You give it everything you've got. But then crash. It all falls apart. And you're left sitting in the silence, wondering what the hell went wrong. It's okay. You're not alone. And more importantly, you're not broken. This video is not about some miracle hack for instant success. It's not about skipping the hard part. This is a story about falling down hard and learning how to rise again. Because the truth is, success is not the absence of failure. Success is built on top of it. Let me tell you something I don't usually talk about. There was a time I had nothing. I just dropped out of college, full of ambition and zero clue. I was chasing a dream, but all I had was anxiety. No money, no plan B, no backup. I poured everything into this one idea, every dollar, every minute, every part of my soul. I kept telling myself, this has to work, but it didn't. I failed, not just financially, emotionally, mentally. I lost friends. I lost confidence. I lost myself. I remember sitting on the floor of my apartment one night, the lights off because I couldn't afford the bill. My phone was buzzing, people asking for updates, but I had nothing to say. I felt like I had died inside, because everything I thought I was, smart, driven, capable. It all seemed like a lie. But in that silence, in that ugly, painful low, I heard something else. A whisper. It said, "Now we begin." That was the turning point. Because for the first time I stopped pretending. I stopped faking success. I stopped running from failure. I stopped trying to impress the world and started learning instead. That's when everything changed. Not fast, not flashy, but real. You see, the world sells us a myth. The myth of overnight success, of the lucky break, the viral video, the self-made millionaire who just figured it out. But what they don't show you is the blood behind the spotlight, the years of self-doubt, the silent nights of crying, the jobs lost, the bills missed, the friends who walked away. Success isn't quick. It's brutal. It's slow. It's earned in the ashes of your failures. Look, I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. If you're expecting an easy ride, you're in the wrong video. But if you're still here, it's because deep down, you know there's more inside you. You know failure isn't the end. It's the beginning. Here's what I need you to understand. Everyone fails. The ones who succeed, they just never stop showing up. They used failure, not as a dead end, but as fuel. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company. Oprah was told she wasn't fit for TV. Thomas Edison made over 1,000 failed light bulbs. J.K. Rowling got rejected 12 times before Harry Potter. What if they had given up? What if you do? This story, this video, is for anyone who's been told they're not good enough. For anyone who's tired of watching everyone else win while you keep losing. For the ones who've fallen flat on their face and still got back up. This is your reminder. You're not too late. You're not too far gone. And your failure is not final. So before we jump into the deeper strategies and stories, just know this. Failure is not your enemy. Fear is. Comfort is. Quitting is. If you can learn from your failures, you can rise from anything. Not in spite of your pain, but because of it. Let's begin. They won't remember how many times you failed. Only that you didn't stop. The illusion of overnight success. We live in a world obsessed with results. Scroll through your phone and what do you see? People smiling in mansions. Standing beside luxury cars. Holding trophies, awards, six-figure paychecks. And the caption always reads something like, "Hard work pays off." But what they never show you is the grind that came before the glow. The sleepless nights, the broken dreams, the tears behind closed doors, the failures that almost ended it all. This is the illusion of overnight success. A carefully crafted lie that social media keeps feeding us. Over and over, we scroll, compare, and wonder, why not me? Why does everyone else seem to have it all figured out? But let me tell you something uncomfortable. Most of what you see is not real. The highlight reel hides the heavy lifting, and the applause covers the agony. Nobody posts the night they almost quit. Nobody shares the debt, the rejection emails, the self-doubt. Because success, real success, isn't sexy in the beginning. It's slow, it's boring, it's lonely. Ask any entrepreneur, artist, athlete, or leader you admire. Their journey wasn't a straight line. It was chaos. Years of silence before the spotlight. Dozens of failures before the first win. And even when the world calls it overnight, it was never that. Let's break it down. Steve Jobs didn't just wake up and invent the iPhone. He spent years in a garage, failing, rebuilding, getting pushed out of Apple, before coming back to lead the most iconic tech revolution. Beyoncé? Before the Super Bowl shows and Grammys, she was in rehearsals at age 9. She lost talent shows, got booed, trained 12 hours a day before you even heard her name. Mr. Beast, the YouTube king? He uploaded over 100 videos before anyone noticed. Spent years testing, learning, failing, with zero recognition. But when we see them now, we think, they made it. They're lucky. They were chosen. No, they were just relentless. See, the problem with the illusion of overnight success is that it robs people of patience. It makes you rush. It makes you doubt your path. It makes you feel like if you're not winning fast, you're doing something wrong. But success isn't a race. It's a test of consistency, of endurance, of belief. Let me ask you something. Would you still chase your dream? If no one clapped for the next 5 years, would you still show up? If nobody believed in you but you? Because that's what it actually takes. Success isn't built in the spotlight. It's built in the dark. It's built on Monday mornings when you want to sleep in. On lonely nights when your friends are out partying but you're working. It's built when nobody's watching, and you show up anyway. Here's the truth. If it was easy, everyone would do it. If it was instant, it wouldn't be worth much. You're not falling behind. You're building. And real building takes time. So don't fall for the filters. Don't measure your journey with someone else's ruler. Because while they're flexing their wins, you're developing your wisdom. And that is way more powerful. Let's redefine success. Not as how fast you reach the top, but how strong you become while climbing. Take pride in the process, even if no one sees it yet. Especially if no one sees it yet. Because when your time comes, and it will, the world will call it overnight success. But you'll know better. You'll know it was the late nights, the rejected applications, the silent battles, the failures no one saw. You'll know you earned every bit of it. And that's a success no illusion can take away. Failure as a catalyst for growth. Failure. A word we're taught to fear, to avoid, to run from. But what if failure is exactly what you need? Think about this. Every lesson you've truly learned in life, did it come from a win or from a wound? More often than not, it's the pain that teaches us, the loss that sharpens us, the moment everything went wrong, that set everything right. Failure is not the end, it's the ignition. But most people never see it that way. We grow up thinking failure means we're not good enough. We fail a test, we're stupid. We fail a business, we're not cut out for it. We get rejected, we weren't worthy. But failure isn't a verdict, it's data. Every time something breaks, it shows you where to reinforce. Every time you stumble, it shows you where to strengthen. If you let it, failure will teach you more than success ever could. Thomas Edison. Over 1,000 failed attempts before the light bulb worked. He said, "I have not failed. I've just found 1,000 ways that won't work." That's not failure. That's refinement. Michael Jordan. Cut from his high school basketball team. Years later, 6 NBA championships, 5 MVPs, the GOAT. What? Because failure made him hungrier. He once said, "I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." Look closer. Failure is a map. It shows you what to adjust. It tells you where to improve. It humbles your ego and sharpens your instincts. No great inventor, creator, athlete, or entrepreneur ever made it without it. J.K. Rowling? Rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter was picked up. Her failure? A blessing in disguise. It made her edit, improve, persist. Walt Disney? Fired from a newspaper job for lacking imagination. His early company went bankrupt. His success? Born through trial by fire. These stories aren't exceptions. They're the rule. The problem is we've been conditioned to avoid failure at all costs. In school, one F and your self-worth drops. In society, one setback and you're judged, laughed at, counted out. But what if we normalized failure? What if we expected it and welcomed it? Imagine if kids were taught, failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of it. Imagine if the world understood that every giant fell first. Every legend lost first. Every master was once a mess. It would change everything. Because failure doesn't just test your skill. It tests your will. It asks you, do you really want this? Will you keep going even now? And your answer decides your future. See, most people quit not because they can't win, but because they got embarrassed when they lost. They couldn't handle the silence, the stares, the whispers of "I told you so," so they gave up. But those who rise, they don't fear failure. They use it. They take the shame and turn it into strength. They take the rejection and turn it into redirection. They take the broken pieces and build something better. Because they know, every failure carries feedback. Every loss has leverage. Every no brings you closer to a yes. If you keep moving. The truth is, success is not a straight line. It's a maze. You will hit dead ends. You will get it wrong. You will fall. But every time you do, you get sharper, smarter, stronger. That's how growth works. And here's what's wild. Failure doesn't just grow you, it grows your credibility. People trust those who've been through the fire. People follow those who've fallen and still rise. You don't need a perfect record. You need a real one. Because in the real world, success isn't about getting it right the first time. It's about refusing to stay down after the 100th. Let failure break your plans, but not your purpose. Let it shatter your pride, but not your passion. Let it ruin your comfort, so you can rise with clarity. Because every time you fail, you're not starting over, you're starting smarter. So don't just accept failure. Study it, respect it, use it. Let it be your fuel, not your fear. And one day when you finally break through, you won't say, "I succeeded despite my failures." You'll say, I succeeded because of them. Embrace the power of resilience. There's something deep inside us, something invisible but unbreakable. It's not talent, it's not luck, it's not even knowledge. It's resilience, the quiet force that keeps you moving when everything tells you to stop. The fire that refuses to go out even when the world rains down on you. Resilience isn't loud, it doesn't shout, but when everything falls apart, it's the only voice that says, get up. Every successful person you admire has it, not because they were chosen, but because they chose not to quit. Resilience is what turns pain into power. It's what transforms rejection into redirection. It's what takes failure and forges it into fuel. But resilience doesn't come from easy wins. It's born in discomfort, forged in setbacks, strengthened in struggle. You don't develop resilience when things go right. You build it every time you survive what went wrong. Look around. The single mom juggling 3 jobs who still goes to night school? Resilient. The athlete who trains alone after injury, long after everyone's forgotten their name? Resilient. The entrepreneur sleeping in their car, still chasing the dream no one else believes in? Resilient. So how do you become that? How do you build the muscle of resilience when life tries to wear you down? It starts with mindset. Specifically, a growth mindset. Because if you see failure as final, you'll fold. But if you see failure as feedback, you'll fight. People with a growth mindset understand. This isn't permanent. This doesn't define me. This is part of the process. They don't ask, why me? They ask, what now? They don't get stuck in the fall. They focus on the recovery. And that recovery starts small. It's in the breath you take before trying again. It's in the decision to show up even when it's hard. It's in the belief that this storm will pass, and you'll still be standing. You can train resilience like a muscle. And just like a muscle, it grows through resistance. When life pushes against you, push back. You build it by reframing failure. Instead of saying, I failed, say, I learned. Instead of saying, I lost everything, say, I now know what not to do. You build it by staying present. Worry lives in the future. Regret lives in the past. But resilience lives in the moment, the decision you make now. You build it by seeking support. Resilience doesn't mean doing it alone. It means having the courage to lean on others, to ask for help, to say, I'm not okay, but I'm not giving up. You build it by getting uncomfortable. Every time you stretch past your limits, they expand. Every time you do what scares you, it scares you less. And maybe most of all, you build it by staying aligned with your why. Because the truth is, the journey will break you if your reasons aren't strong enough to hold you together. So ask yourself, why did I start this? What am I fighting for? Who do I want to become? Let those answers anchor you. Let them remind you that the pain you're facing has a purpose, that the path you're walking is worth every scar. Resilience isn't perfection. It's persistence. You don't have to never fall. You just have to never stay down. There will be days when the progress is invisible, when the weight feels too heavy, when you question if it's worth it. Those are the days resilience is built. Not when it's easy, but when it's brutal. Because resilience is choosing to believe, this is not how my story ends. And in time, the setbacks will become setups. The struggle will become strength. The storm will pass, and you'll still be here, standing, stronger than before. Not because you were fearless, but because you were resilient. Transforming failure into triumph. Failure. The word itself feels heavy, final. It carries the sting of rejection, the weight of disappointment, the silence that follows a lost opportunity. But what if failure isn't the end? What if it's the raw material for your greatest breakthrough? The truth is, every failure contains 2 things: pain and potential. The difference between staying stuck and rising higher is how you respond to both. See, failure isn't a sign to stop, it's a signal to change. It's not proof you're not good enough, it's proof that you're in the game. Because only those who dare greatly can fail deeply. And only those who fail deeply can rise even higher. Think about it. Every invention that changed the world, it started with failure. The light bulb? Over 1,000 failed attempts. Each one a lesson. Each one a data point. Each one a step closer to success. This is the mindset that transforms failure into triumph. Failure is feedback. Not personal. Not permanent. Just information. What worked? What didn't? What can I do differently? That's how champions think. Not emotionally, strategically. They take the blow. Then they ask, how do I grow? It's not about ignoring the pain. It's about using it, turning it into insight, turning it into fuel. Let's be clear, this isn't easy. Failure hurts. It can crush your confidence, rattle your beliefs, make you question everything. But if you sit in that pain long enough to understand it, you'll find something powerful buried underneath. Clarity. Failure shows you what matters. It strips away the distractions. It sharpens your focus. Maybe you were chasing the wrong goal. Maybe your strategy was off. Maybe your timing wasn't right. Failure reveals that. And when you stop running from it and start learning from it, you become dangerous. Because now you're not just hoping for success. You're building it brick by brick, lesson by lesson. Let's look at real people. Steve Jobs? Fired from his own company. He said it was the best thing that ever happened to him, because it gave him the freedom to start again, with wisdom. Oprah? Told she was unfit for television. That failure didn't break her, it clarified her purpose. It pushed her to create her own platform, her own empire. J.K. Rowling? Rejected by 12 publishers, living on welfare. But the rejection sharpened her story, refined her message, made her fight harder. That's the power of transforming failure into triumph. Not overnight, not effortlessly, but intentionally. So how do you do it? First, reflect honestly. Not to punish yourself, but to understand. What happened? What was in your control? What patterns do you see? Second, extract the lesson. Every failure has one. It might be about timing, or preparation, or ego. Find it, write it down, apply it. Third, adjust your strategy. Don't make the same mistake twice. Use the insight to move smarter, not just harder. Fourth, share your story. Because when you speak openly about your failures, you not only free yourself, you inspire others. And finally, don't stop. This is where most people quit. Not because they can't win, but because they misread the loss. They think the fall defines them, but the comeback does. The people who win in the end, they're not the ones who never failed. They're the ones who never stayed down. They took every rejection, every setback, every painful no, and turned it into a deeper reason to keep going. They didn't run from failure. They ran with it. Let it teach them, shape them, drive them. And eventually, they didn't just succeed. They triumphed. So if you're in the middle of a failure right now, breathe. This isn't your ending. It's your turning point. You're not broken. You're being rebuilt. You're not lost. You're being redirected. This is not a detour. This is the path. Stand up. Shake off the shame. Look failure in the eye and say, thank you. Now watch what I do next. Because triumph isn't born from ease. It's born from the fire. And you're just getting started. The courage to keep going. There's a moment after the fall, after the heartbreak, after the failure, where everything feels still. It's quiet. Too quiet. No applause. No reassurance. Just you and the voice in your head. And that voice, it's loud. It says you're not enough. It says you should quit. It tells you that trying again will only hurt more. But deep down, another voice whispers, not yet. Get up. This is the crossroads, where dreams are either buried or reborn. Where your decision to stop or to step forward defines everything that comes next. Because the truth is, success doesn't require perfection. It demands persistence. The courage to keep going, especially when everything in you wants to stop, is what separates those who almost made it from those who actually do. But let's be honest, pushing forward after failure? It's brutal. You've given your best. You've sacrificed time, money, pride, maybe even relationships, and still you lost. So why try again? Because what's waiting on the other side of perseverance isn't just success. It's transformation. It's not about proving others wrong. It's about proving yourself right. That your belief, your vision, your grit, they mean something. Let's break this down. What does it take to keep going? First, clarity of purpose. If you don't know why you started, you'll forget why you should continue. But when your purpose is clear, when the vision pulls harder than the pain, you find fuel in the fatigue. Second, emotional endurance. We talk a lot about hard work, but not enough about hard feelings. Disappointment, shame, embarrassment. These don't go away. You learn to carry them and move anyway. Resilience is not being unaffected. It's being undefeated by what affects you. Third, momentum over motivation. Waiting to feel like it is a trap. Feelings are fickle. Courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's just one small step forward. Don't focus on finishing the race, just take the next step. Then the next. Then the next. That's how momentum is built. One act of defiance against defeat at a time. Fourth, belief in the process. When you don't see results, doubt creeps in. But that's where faith matters. Not blind optimism, but grounded confidence. You trust the process because you're showing up, doing the work, and learning from each move. Even if progress is invisible, it's happening. Now let's get real. There will be relapses. You'll question yourself again. There will be days when everything in you screams to stop. But hear this. Quitting is a decision. So is continuing. And every time you choose to keep going, you sharpen your edge. You strengthen the muscle of resilience. You become unshakable, not because you don't fall, but because you never stay down. Success isn't a straight line. It's messy. It's slow. It's full of doubt, detours, and dead ends. But it's also beautiful, because every moment you almost gave up, but didn't, becomes a thread in the story you'll one day tell. And that story? It won't be about how you had it easy. It'll be about how you had every reason to quit, but chose not to. It'll be the reason someone else keeps going. Because you went first. So if you're tired right now, good. That means you're trying. That means you're in it. If you're scared, good. That means it matters. You don't fear what's irrelevant. You fear what's important. And if you failed, good. That means you took a shot. You were brave enough to risk the fall. But don't stop here. Not now. Not when you're closer than you think. Courage isn't loud. It's quiet. It's steady. It's the voice that says, I don't know what comes next, but I'll be there to meet it. So meet it. With scraped knees, with a bruised heart, with trembling hands, meet it. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need the courage to take the next step. Because the story you're living, it's not finished. And the chapter ahead is going to be your best one yet. So now you know, failure isn't the end. It's the beginning, a signal, a challenge, a test. And how you respond, that's what defines you. You will fall. You will doubt. You will face moments that make you want to walk away. But if you remember just one thing from this journey, let it be this. You are not behind. You are becoming. Every setback you faced is shaping something deeper in you. Resilience, wisdom, strength. The kind that doesn't come from winning, it comes from getting back up. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to be brave enough to continue. So wherever you are right now, at the bottom, on the edge, or climbing back up, don't stop. Because success isn't reserved for the perfect. It's waiting for the persistent. My name is Ramsey Best Junior, and this was my truth. Thank you for walking this journey with me. If this message spoke to you, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and be ready for what comes next. This is just the beginning.